So welcome all of you to our weekly Sunday Gita class. Sorry again, I became late. So we are doing the sixth Bhagavad Gita. Can anyone quickly recall the past previous class lessons? Those of you who were there. Anything from last class? What did we discuss?
We discussed about how to develop the higher taste, uh, like chanting the mantra,
Mhm.
reading spiritual books, doing seva, having prasadam.
Okay, thank you. We discussed about developing higher taste by giving better engagement to senses. Thank you. Anything else?
We can't hold both the sense gratification and spirituality. We can't do it together. If you
I will
want,
do one after the other.
no, you have to leave sense gratification to go forward in your spiritual life.
Okay, thank you. And anything else? Wait, Prabhu.
So we talked about the story of Arjun and Urvashi, and like how how even though he had such good self control, and I
Can you
mean,
just hold it? It will.
even though like if Arjun having so much sense control, if he is himself saying that my mind is so difficult to control, so like what of us? So it was and we also discussed about like the qualities of Arjuna when everyone was like doing target practice, and everyone else could see like different parts of the tree, but Arjun could only see the eye of the bird. So I mean, even then, if Arjun is asking like Krishna that it's easier to the wind but difficult to control the mind.
Hmm.
So yes.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Anything else we discussed?
We
We
discussed
discussed about
Yeah.
we discussed that the mind is very powerful and it can overpower intelligence if we don't have determination. So we need to have determination as well as intelligence in order to control the mind and center the mind.
And how do you get determination? How do you get determination?
For so we chant Hare Krishna, and also we stay away from the bad things, and we taste higher taste, just like serving Lord Krishna. That will keep us away from the bad habits.
Okay.
And also we discussed that without determination it's like a monkey doing Ekachi Vrat.
Yeah. Correct.
So that story.
Very good. Thank you. And how do we develop discrimination or intelligence?
you should beat the mind,
Beating the
How do you beat the mind?
Nam jap.
not listen to it,
You should not listen to it. Very good.
listen to the intelligence. By creating
By what?
strong intelligence. When
Yeah, how do you
it's
develop strong
strong,
intelligence?
from every morning and every night, you have to like chant Krishna, and then like instead of like reaching to your phone in the morning, you should like reach to
Yeah.
read the Gita.
Yeah. Better utilization of time.
Yeah.
I know. We have to learn not to listen to the mind's demands. Hmm? Just like when they tame a tiger, you have seen first they catch hold of the tiger, then they starve it for maybe 10 days. When it becomes fully weak, then they give little food, then it gets little strength. Then they ask it to do whatever training there is, jump over a hoop, in through a hoop, or I don't know what else they do, but they tame like that. Similarly, when the uncontrolled mind is fed, that uncontrolled mind becomes stronger. More we listen to the mind and fulfill mind's demands, more mind becomes stronger. But more you take side of the intelligence and act upon intelligence, mind, more intelligence becomes stronger. Subsequently, the mind becomes weaker, isn't it? Okay, I'll show you. Generally, sometimes mind is compared to an elephant. Hmm? Because Krishna. Okay, maybe we'll do the Gita verses, then we'll come to this. Yeah. Chapter 6. Okay, text 33, we have to start, right? Arjuna Uvacha Yoyam Yogastvaya Proktah साम्येन मधुसूदन एतस्याहं न पश्यामि चञ्चलत्वा स्थितिं स्थिराम्. Yeah. So here Arjuna is see, now we are discussing 33rd verse of the 6th chapter. Till now Krishna has told about, you can say, 3 to 4 sections, very broadly speaking. He introduced Ashtanga Yoga. The previous chapter he ended with Nishkama Karma Yoga, and now he introduced Ashtanga Yoga in this chapter. And then he said Ashtanga Yoga has 2 levels, level 1, level 2. And level 1 is called the practicing stage, level 2 is called perfection stage. Then he gives the characteristics of those who are in practicing stage, characteristics of those who are in perfection stage. And then how do you go from level 1 to level 2? This is what Krishna has covered. Now, how do you go from level 1 to level 2 is predominantly focused on controlling your mind. You will see that. What is that? As the mind goes away from focus, how is it done? Yato yato nischalti manaschanchalamasstiram tato tato niyamyetad. Krishna says. As the mind goes away, learn to bring it back. So this is one methodology. That means the mind has a tendency to go away. Mind has a tendency to be distracted. But as the mind is distracted, immediately bring it back. Otherwise, mind will stitch stories, and you after 1 hour you'll find yourself nowhere. Isn't it? Sometimes we have an experience. We sit with the book to study, and after 1 hour we are still on the introduction page. You had this experience before? I've had a lot of experience like this. Why? Because the mind stitch stories, dreams, and plans and this and that. But then when it comes to practical action, there's no determination. This is the problem of the uncontrolled mind. So therefore Krishna tells Arjuna, if you want to go to level 2, see, level 2 of Ashtanga Yoga means the practitioner has reached the second half of the Ashtanga Yoga, which is more of meditation, fixing the mind for a fixed time period. So that means the mind has to be trained. It's not very easy. So Krishna has given a lot of rules and regulations how to go from level 1 to level 2. Sitting straight, eating not too much, not too less, sleeping not too much, not too less, mm, and living in seclusion. That means away from distraction. Today, nowadays, we carry distraction in our pocket. We are surrounded by distraction. Krishna says for Ashtanga Yoga, that's not possible. You have to keep distraction far away. That means even if you want to be distracted, there's nothing to be distracted by. Isn't it? So he gives all these conditions, and finally he says such a person who follows these methodology to go from level 1 to level 2, such a person, when he goes to level 2, he understands there's nothing more than this. Such a yogi who has attained perfection can see Krishna everywhere. Where is Krishna? Everywhere. Problem is we don't see it. But the fruit of going to level 2 is you can see him everywhere. Just like Prahlad. Prahlad could see Narsimhadev everywhere. But Hiranyakashipu saw him nowhere. That's the difference. So we want to go to level 2. That's the aspiration. But when Krishna tells that attain perfection through Ashtanga Yoga, now we are going to see what is Arjuna's reaction. How does Arjuna take it? Can someone read translation? Whoever has the mic.
Me.
Yeah.
Arjuna said, O Madhusana, the system of yoga which you have summarized appears impractical and unendurable to me, for the mind is restless and unsteady.
Yeah. So Arjuna uses 2 words, impractical and unendurable. Let us see. Yeah. So this is coming from the word chanchalatva, due to being restless. So therefore it is not practical. Arjuna's complaint is, my mind is so restless, you're telling me to focus, it is not possible. The way you have said it, go to seclusion, but I'm a warrior, I have family. Tell me to fight, I can fight. But tell me to go to seclusion and sit and do nothing. It's not very easy. So that's why he calls it impractical. Unendurable means I can do it for a day, but not day after day, not every day, not year after year. That won't be possible. So therefore, unendurable. Why? Because the mind is restless and unsteady. Yeah, can you read the purport, Haribo? Yeah.
The system of mysticism described by Lord Krishna to Arjuna, beginning with the word Sukhau Dese
Yeah,
and end
Suchau Deshi.
Suchau Deshe and ending with Yogi Paramaha, is here being rejected by Arjuna out of a feeling of inability. It is not possible for an ordinary man to leave home and to go to a secluded place in the mountains or jungles to practice yoga in the age of Kali. The present age is characterized by a bitter struggle for life of short duration. People are not serious about self realization even by simple practical means. And what to speak of this difficult yoga system which regulates the mode of living, the manner of sitting, selection of place, and detachment of the mind from material engagements. As a practical man, Arjuna thought it was impossible to follow the system of yoga. Even though he was favorably endowed in many ways, he belonged to the royal family and was highly elevated in terms of numerous qualities. He was a great warrior, he had great longevity, and above all, he was the most intimate friend of Lord Krishna, the supreme personality of the Godhead. 5,000 years ago,
Why Prabhupada is saying this? Because if you see material considerations, Arjuna was top notch. He's saying he was a great warrior, and we discussed about the Drona, that story. And he had great longevity. That means if he wanted to practice anything, he had enough time in his life. He did not face time crunch. And he was intimate friend of Krishna. So he has all good qualities. Yeah.
5,000 years ago, Arjuna had much better facilities than we do now. Yet he refused to accept the system of yoga. In fact, we do not find any record in history of his practicing it at any time. Therefore, this system must be considered generally impossible in this age of Kali. Of course, it may be possible for some very few rare men, but for the people in general, it is an impossible proposal. If this were so 5,000 years ago, then what of the present day? Those who are imitating this yoga system in different so called schools and societies, although certainly wasting their time, they are completely in ignorance of the desired goal.
Yeah. So Prabhupada is saying that even 5,000 years ago, Arjuna found it impractical. What talk about today? Mhm. So we will do further couple of verses and then we'll discuss. Okay, text 34. Chanchalam hi manah Krishna pramathi bhalavadridam tasyaham nigraham manye vayor iva sudushkaram. Did we read this right last time? Okay. You can just read the translation.
Continent and very strong, O Krishna, and to subdue is more difficult than controlling the wind.
Okay. I think we did the purport last time. So we will go to 35. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Asamshayam Mahabaho Mano Durnigraham Chalam Abhyasena tu Konteya Vairagyena Chakriyate. Now Krishna is responding to Arjuna. Who's reading? Yeah.
Lord Sri Krishna said, O mighty armed son of Kali, it is undoubtedly very difficult to curb the restless mind, but it is possible by suitable practice and by detachment.
Yeah. So here Krishna is agreeing to Arjuna's complaint. Krishna doesn't say, no, Arjuna, come on, you can do it. There's no false hope of optimism. Krishna is agreeing that this is reality. To control the mind is no joke. And Arjuna, being equipped with so much of concentration, strength of mind, and determination, willpower, focus, training, still he is facing problem in controlling his mind. And Krishna is saying, Arjuna, there is no doubt about it because it is not easy. And therefore, what he says, Krishna says, but it is possible to control the mind by abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyena cha griyati. That means through practice and detachment, it is possible to control the mind. We will discuss that also. Yeah. Mhm. Okay, you can quickly read the purport.
The difficulty of controlling the obstinate mind, as expressed by Arjuna, is accepted. But at the same time, he suggests that by practice and detachment, it is possible. What is that practice? In the present age, no one can observe the strict rules and regulations of placing oneself in a sacred place, focusing the mind on the supersoul, restraining the senses and mind, observing celibacy, remaining alone, etc. By the practice of Krishna consciousness, however, one engages in 9 types of devotional service to the Lord. The first and foremost of such devotional engagements is hearing about Krishna. This is a very powerful transcendental
Transcendental.
transcendental method for purging the mind of all misgivings. The more one hears about Krishna, the more one becomes enlightened and detached from everything that draws the mind away from Krishna. By detaching the mind from activities not devoted to the Lord, one can very easily learn vairagya. Vairagya means detachment from matter and engagement of the mind in spirit. Impersonal spiritual detachment is more difficult than attaching the mind to the activities of Krishna. This is practical because by hearing about Krishna, one becomes automatically attached to the Supreme Spirit.
Yeah, we'll pause there. Mm-mm-mm. Okay, now we'll do 36. Asamyatma, sorry, asamyatatma, asamyatatmana yogo, sad, asamyatatmana yogo, दुष्प्राप इति मे मतिः वश्यात्मना तु यथा शक्यो वाप्तुम् उपायतः. Translation.
Whose mind is unbridled, self realization is difficult work, but he whose mind is controlled and who strives by appropriate means is assured of success. That is my opinion.
My opinion, that my has capital M. So very important opinion. Krishna's opinion. So Krishna is saying here that if you want to make any progress in spiritual life, control of mind is a must. It is not an option. So we'll read the purport later. Okay. So let me show you something about the strength of the mind. So this is the mad elephant. Let me have it downloaded. Okay, can just play it. So because Arjuna explains mind to be restless, turbulent, obstinate, and very strong. Sounds like an elephant, right? So you see, when the elephant is not controlled, what happens? That's what Krishna says. Very strong. Arjuna is saying, very strong, my mind. Any idea what language they're speaking? Huh? क्या बात? Oh. Kerala? Yeah, we all have this elephant within us. This is a temple elephant gone crazy. Oof. There's someone sitting on top. This is what uncontrolled mind does to our life. And on the other hand, I'll show a good elephant. When you control the mind, what happens?
So huge.
Now, now it is not turbulent, it is very gentle. Though it is strong, it is tamed. See, control mind is very productive. It's painting.
I could hear his trunk jingling.
Amazing, huh? It did some shading also. Amazing, huh? If you control the mind, even the elephant-like mind can be productive like this. Oh, all other it won the competition. What you can do with the control mind? Huh? But still not. Yeah. Amazing, huh? Controlling. Okay, so let me show you one document. Okay. In later on, there's a workshop called as the three C's. The three C's workshop, which is conditions, conditioning, and cutthroat competition. So conditions is on the bodily platform. On the bodily platform means we are all conditioned to survive on land. We cannot survive in water, isn't it? Similarly, we all have to eat maybe 3 times a day. We have some conditions. We have to sleep at night, and you don't follow these things, it will upset your body, upset your health. So this is how our body is conditioned. Whereas a duck's body is conditioned such that it can live in water. A fish's body only stays inside water. So different body, according depending on what body we get, we have different conditions which is suitable for our body. Now I will not go much into conditions, but conditioning. Conditioning is for the mind. That means, okay, I'll show you what conditioning means. Yeah, conditionings. Mm. Read this from our thoughts.
Our thoughts, desires, actions, habits, character, attitudes, personality, behavior, etc., gradually become set and are called as our script. These vrittis, propensities, vasanas, tendencies, and samskaras, set patterns, impel us to think, speak, or act in certain way. These are called our conditionings.
Yeah, you are able to understand. That means, I think it comes here later on. Mm, mm, mm. I think it comes in another workshop. There's a saying in English: "Watch your words because they become thoughts." Is it something like that? You heard that? Or watch your, how does it start? Watch your thoughts.
Watch your thoughts
Watch
as
your
they
thoughts.
become your actions.
No, that's first and last you give. In between, many steps come. They become words or desires.
No, they become
Habits.
actions.
No, actions is the last one.
Habits, yeah.
Before actions, many other things come.
Mm.
All of you have one smartphone. Please check on your check. Ask your ChatGPT. What is it? Okay, मुझे दे दो. Yeah. Click on it. Okay. Watch your thoughts because they become words. Watch your words because they become deeds. Watch your deeds because they become habits. And watch your habits, they become character. This is the thing. So thank you, Prabhu. So our desires, see, the first line says our thoughts, desires, actions, habits, character, attitude, personality, behavior, etc., they all gradually become set. And that is called as our script. So what input we keep putting to the mind, that's how the mind is formed. Mm. We are constantly changing the subtle body. So you can think of subtle body as a, it is subtle, but it keeps changing according to what desires we have. The subtle body can change. So there's something called as the script. For example, some of us, whatever happens, we might react with anger, isn't it? Some people we react with, say, crying. Whatever happens, we cry. Bad happens, we cry. Good happens, we cry. That's a natural response. Conditioning. Mm. And we also have, yes, I've turned my camera. Just a minute. Actually, when you started, you always turn on the camera. Oh, I think logged it. Yeah, I'm glad it turned on the mic. Yeah. What was I saying before this? Anyone remembers? What was I just saying?
Some people cry, some people get anger.
Yeah. After that was saying something. Uh, subtle body keeps changing, and according to what scripts we have, we keep reacting to stimuli around us. So that to the things of this world, some people, based on what scripts we have formed, we have we react in a different way. We can become angry about things. We can cry about it, or some people they tend to practical action, isn't it? So now in our mind, there are certain, these are the words, and you can remember the three words used here. First one is called as vritti. Vritti means propensity. Some people have yeah. Some people have propensity to eat. Like, there is something called as what? Sad eating. What is it called? Like if you become sad, you eat more. Binge eating. Okay. So that's the natural response because they want to make the mind happy. What happens is as soon as they become sad, they tend to eat more. Also, we have certain propensities. Now, when propensity, you concentrate propensity. That means when propensity becomes strong, it is called as vasanas or tendencies. See, in propensity, we might have a wrong propensity. We might have a propensity towards, say, for example, drinking. But in propensity, it's easy to cut it. To say no is easy at propensity stage. But when propensity becomes goes to next level, it is called as vasanas. And vasana is called as tendency. Now here, the tendency means that the inclination toward acting, whatever type of act we want to perform, is way stronger. Over there, it's even more difficult. Tendency. And when tendencies become strong, we keep acting on the tendency. Then that tendency is just like you're drawing, you're pulling a strike on a rock or on a wooden table. If I keep pulling a strike with a needle or something, it just keeps getting deeper. Just a small first strike, you can erase it, sometimes it goes away. But you keep pulling the strike in the same direction. First, initially it's called as propensity. You keep pulling the strike, it becomes tendency. Vasa. Keep pulling the strike, it becomes so deep you cannot do anything about it. And it's called samskara. So, what are we, um, how do we think and how do we act constantly, repeatedly, in a repeated fashion? We are forming samskaras, and we all carry samskaras from this life, from childhood, as well as from the past. So sometimes we might wonder, where is this bad habit coming from? I never did anything bad in this life. Then it is coming from past life. The tendency for sense gratification is so strong, not because it's natural, it is because we practice it for millions of lifetimes to enjoy our senses. So therefore, it looks very strong. So now conditionings, now these things what we read, the vrittis, vasanas and samskaras, these are the impressions on the mind. Now say for example, is a samskara that one person is someone is a impulsive cheater. If he sits in exam, he has to cheat. Even if he has studied, he cannot breathe if he doesn't copy. Even if he has studied. So you understand the gravity of the situation. Samskara is very deep. Like there was one thief. Prabhupada gives a story, a small story, and this thief he became a devotee, but he was like an impulsive stealer. So one night all the devotees were going on a yatra. So now his hands were itching. See, that is the time he's awake. He couldn't sleep. So his hands were itching to do something, steal something. But now he's a devotee, he cannot steal. So what he did at night time, he went, took one bag of one devotee, and because he's a devotee, he cannot steal. So he just took the bag, put it elsewhere. Took his bag, put it here. In the morning, when all the devotees got up, they were thinking, what has happened? Where is my bag? And then he came and confessed, it's actually me. Because I was an impulsive stealer, I used to steal a lot before. The samskara is so strong, my hands were itching for me to do something. So because I could not steal, I just misplaced your bags, but nothing I've stolen. So they all became peaceful. You see? So because the samskara doesn't go very easily. It's just like you put a fan on 5 speed, the highest speed. The minute you turn it off, it takes long time to come to rest. Versus if it's only at 1 speed. So samskara is like 5 speed. Mm. And samskara, we have vasana and vritti. Vrittis are very, and we also keep developing these vrittis, tendencies. When we watch a movie, we see some duffer in the class. He's not very smart, but he smokes a cigarette, and then he, takes his glasses and throws up in the air and puts it like this. So these vritti we also develop. I also want to look cool, so we also throw glasses and catch and put it, isn't it? Or you have a cigarette, you put it and catch it with your mouth, mm, isn't it? So these things movies portray, but when we see, we also get these tendencies that I also want to do it. That is vritti. But when you keep practicing it, it just becomes deeper and deeper, and that's how our mind becomes conditioned. And now, for a person who has done so much, maybe smoking or whatever bad habits he's gone deep into, now he cannot do any. It becomes very difficult for him to get out of the bad habit because it has reached samskara stage. See, so therefore, in the conditionings, there are some. I don't know why I've not selected. Let me just refresh it. So the bad habits, what we have, the habits, as you know, is not very easy to overcome. And where are the habits present? Where? Sure. How many of you say habits are present in the mind? Raise your hand. One, two, three. Half means what? Okay. And how many of you say it is not present in the mind?
They are
Yeah,
also present elsewhere in body.
in the body. Okay. Others who did not raise hand, where do you think habits are present? No idea. Prasadam. Where are the habits present? It's present in the mind. Habits are present in the mind. Therefore, when we have habits which we cannot control, that is the symptom of an uncontrolled mind. Krishna. So therefore, now you see what kinds. There are three types of bad habits. There's simple bad habits. Simple bad habits means some people they don't know what to do with the hand, so it goes in the ear, goes inside the nose. You bite the teeth, you use the teeth to bite the nails because they don't know what to do with the hand. These are simple bad habits. And you tell, hey, go wash your hand and come. Very dirty. So, but the even see some things are there. Sleeping too much, eating too much, gossiping, hmm, poking nose in others' affairs. Like if when we talk about Krishna consciousness, people are feeling sleepy and tired. When we say talk about, hey, do you know that guy? You know something about him. When we start talking about others, immediately our ears become very active. These are all bad habits. See, laughing also, laughing for everything. Some people, if something very serious is going on, but from inside you have a tendency to laugh for no good reason, isn't it? I also used to have this problem. It's something very, especially when the atmosphere is too serious. That is the time you get. Yeah, this is a restless mind, symptom of restless mind. So this is all bad habits. Mm. These things are not very dangerous with respect to consequences. But then the serious bad habits. These are simple bad habits. These are serious bad habits. What are serious bad habits? Addiction is a serious bad habit because addiction can cost your life. Says every cigarette packet, but still people smoke, isn't it? So addiction to smoking, drinking, drugs, all these things are serious bad habits. And what illicit sex, and of course, forgery. Some people are serial killers. Some people get joy on killing. So these are very grave bad habits. Why? Why do such people behave in such a way, that way? It is because their minds have become perverted. Mm. It's like someone was telling me that terrorists, how do they cultivate other terrorists? Just as we catch youth, they also catch youth. From small children, they start telling them, if you see such and such person, they are your enemy. And they are so brainwashed, even when they take a pistol and shoot the other person, they don't feel anything. Because that's how you rewire their consciousness. So these are very grave bad habits. See, there's one example of a grave bad habit. Can someone read who has Mike? Mike, yeah.
Yeah. A computer engineering student in his first year began his friendship with a girl in his class by exchanging notebooks, wishing on birthdays, etc. He started writing poems about her and sending
Exchanging
SMS to
notebook.
check her response. When she was positive, he went mad. Both of them started exchanging letters, phone calls, messages, going together to park, watch movies, and eventually one day they went to Goa beach and indulged in illicit uncontrollably. After 4 months, when she came to know she was pregnant, he was in a dilemma whether to abort the child or to marry him. They were just in their third year of engineering. When the parents sensed the problem, both the students were out of college and they made it a police case. Neither could they get married as they were from different language and economic status. The child was aborted. The future became bleak. What began with a handshake ended in abortion, cruel murder, and prison.
You understand? And this is, I mean, this is one such case study. We know there's so many such case studies, isn't it? So this is called as a grave bad habit, where the impressions are so deep, they know it's wrong, but they cannot control themselves. Mm. So these are the conditionings that happen on the which are present in the mind. So see, when we indulge in such bad habits, what happens? We lose shaucham, cleanliness. We lose dhyana, concentration. Now people say, no, Prabhu, how can I develop concentration? Why develop? Because one is losing concentration on account of distraction. One loses dhriti, called as determination. Naishtiki shanti, which is everlasting peace. Vichara shakti, which is power of inquiry. People become very dull headed. And dharana shakti, power to grasp. You ask, what did I talk last 5 minutes? People scratch their head. Because dharana shakti is not there. Dharana shakti means as soon as you hear, you should be able to hold it. In the Vedic times, it was all Shruti teaching. That means Guru will speak, no notes. Nor there's no notes for Guru to show, nor are there notes for disciple to write. It's all based on Shruti. As one keeps hearing, as whatever he would hear, they would be so sharp. They had the power to hold that knowledge, and therefore they were called the Shruti Dhar. Whatever they would hear, they can hold it. But today we don't have that Shakti because of conditioning of the mind and engaging bad habits. So Vichara Shakti is gone, Dharana Shakti is gone, and Viveka Shakti is gone. Viveka Shakti means to be able to discriminate. The sharpness of intelligence means to the degree the intelligence is sharp, to that degree you can identify even the, as they say, it's a thin line case. It's very difficult to make out, but a sharp intelligence can make out the difference. They can make out the right from wrong, even when the case is, very sensitive. Like one of Acharyas, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he was a Supreme Court judge, he was a magistrate, and the British wanted him so much that they laid out a railway track right to his door, to his office. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur was so sharp, and how he would read what the other judges would take days, if not months, to solve. Bhaktivinoda Thakur would do it in 30 minutes, and he would spend extra time in chanting Hare Krishna. So he would take any book, whatever he had to read, it is said he would read diagonally. We read line by line, right? He would read diagonally. He was so sharp. Why? Because he was devotee. He had all this Vichara Shakti, power of inquiry. Dharana Shakti, as soon as he would see something, he would grasp it. There's something called as reading between the lines. You have heard that? That means you can go to the deeper knowledge, what is being presented. And Viveka Shakti means to give a judgment on the case, he needed a very sharp intelligence. And to make a judgment in 30 minutes, that means his sharpness of intelligence was pretty high. Mm. So when we engage in bad habits, all these things are lost. Yeah? And people also become hard-hearted. Yeah. See, what impels one to go on with a bad habit? It is the scripts. What scripts we are cultivating, and we're constantly updating the script based on our input. The movies we watch, the music we hear, the friends we keep. Mm. Nowadays, everything in social media is all about love, mm, love and sex. It's all basically enjoyment, isn't it? Sense enjoyment. So now, if you keep hearing such music, keep watching such movies, now we were discussing elsewhere that if you want TRP rating in anything, without kissing scene, there is no TRP rating, isn't it? There's no TRP rating if you don't show a boy-girl relationship. It will become a big flop. Even if they put Mahabharata, they have to show some romantic scene, some sensual scene has to be there. So therefore, you find even documentary movies, for example, like Beautiful Mind. It's based on a mathematician's life. You have watched Beautiful Mind? Okay. My maths teacher told me I have to watch it, so I watched. But that fellow also falls in love with someone. You watch anything? There was Alan Turing. He had the Turing machine. Turing machine. So there was one movie on him also. What is it called? Okay, good. Huh? Imitation game. Good, remember. Dharana Shakti is pretty strong. So in that also there's a love scene, isn't it? So you might want to get inspiration to do something in this world, but that in between they'll put a love scene. So therefore, we keep developing scripts based on what we are exposed to. And today, whatever we are exposed to is very degraded. Hmm. So just imagine being exposed to the same thing time and again from different directions. What happens? Initially, it's a vritti, but then it becomes vasana, and then it becomes samskara, and then they have a problem. Rape case, hang that guy, but they're not ready to ban item songs, isn't it? The scripts are available. Everywhere you see, the same scripts are there of pollution, but they have a problem when someone falls for it. That means we are ready to pollute your mind, but don't do anything about it. It's not possible. And India before was never like this. Vedic India, even in India, how the television was introduced is through Mahabharata and Ramayana. That's the only reason people got television. And they were so glued to Ramayana and Mahabharata, especially Ramayana in those days. My father would tell me that even Muslims, Christians, whoever it is, everyone would see Ramayana, isn't it? Yeah, then they had Mahabharata or Sri Krishna. Then they had DD. Then they had fashion TV. As other channels came in, Bollywood and Hollywood, immediately the Rama and Mahabharata went out. You see? So therefore, we have to be very, very careful. As Gandhi has, Bura mat dekho, Bura mat suno, Bura mat bolo, the three monkeys. Where especially when we're in the outside world, we have to be very careful of what we are being exposed to. Some people say, like I was talking to one boy, not Indian, he was foreign, American boy. So I was talking about, overcoming lust and all that. He said, Arjun, actually, I don't feel lust. He was saying, and he was showing me his Instagram photos. He's some sort of a textile, not textile. He has this fashion industry, and he was saying, I have to keep hanging out with girls and models, and so I don't feel lust. How is it possible that a person who is not, he's new to Krishna consciousness, but he doesn't feel anything when he comes in touch with opposite sex? Huh? Money?
He might not have interest in
Okay. Thank you, Prabhu. I'm not talking about any exceptional cases. Generally. Good samskara. American guy roaming with models, good samskara.
Like strong past impressions that
Sorry, can you? He's more focused in work. He was showing his Instagram. Didn't look like work. It was after work. Oh, he doesn't register it. Okay, why doesn't he register it? That's the question. It is normal for him. Okay.
it's like how people who eat meat they'll be justifying it like we are top of the food chain, so it is part of ecosystem, so we have to do this.
Hmm.
And they don't realize that
No, he says I don't feel anything.
ignorance.
Ignorance.
He don't know what lust is.
He doesn't know what lust is. Very innocent guy. Yeah? He's lying. Okay, he wasn't lying. He was like genuinely saying, so realization about lust. Huh? Mhm. Okay. Good. Correct. He doesn't know that he's lusty. Okay, good.
Or there
Yeah.
is too much of fed up. You eat too much of gulab jamun, you're like,
Thank you. Yes, someone is there.
Would anyone want to say that they're under the control of us? When आप मस्ती में बोलना चाहेंगे?
No, he was like coming to a temple and he's trying to become a devotee. So when I was talking about lust, he was saying, "Bro, I don't feel anything. I don't think this is a big problem."
Yeah, exactly. Like
No, he wasn't lying. He wasn't lying. I give you that. He wasn't lying. After 1 week, after hearing classes, then he told me, Prabhu, actually my mind is very much afflicted with lust. Huh?
Maybe
Yeah?
so. Like when water is flowing in the pipe,
Mm-hmm.
you don't feel like how much the pressure is. But once you understand, like try to stop the flow of water,
Then you know.
then you
Okay.
feel how
Good.
much pressure is.
Correct.
So initially he was like,
Going with the flow. Yeah, that's the point. It's like you take a colored lungi and you put a black dot because it's already colored. You cannot find out that black dot, isn't it? But now you take a white dhoti and put black dot. Can you find out easily? So it's because the mind is so impure. Such people will feel actually I'm not lusty. Actually I don't have to hang out. I just do it because I have to. Well, I have all the capacity not to. Like people say, no, actually I'm not addicted to smoking, but they smoke. So it's like black lungi. So when the mind is completely impure, they don't even get to know that they're lusty. It's only when they start cleaning the mind, then they understand so much lust is there. Clean the room, you feel room is so clean. Your mother says, hey, beta, isn't it? Because ignorance. When you start take up a broomstick and start brooming, then you will see the dust is going into your nostril and you're coughing, and then you understand, oh, so dirty it is. Means I'm talking about the bad samskaras. It is not easy to overcome. And now these samskaras are present in the mind, and therefore the mind, on account of these samskaras, is giving trouble to the living entity. Why is there a trouble? Because intelligence goes in one direction and mind goes in another direction. You can ask them to close the door. Hey, close this door, no? Direction, intelligence goes in the other direction. That's when there's confusion. I'm talking about devotees. Like when we start chanting Hare Krishna, we know, Hare Krishna is the goal of life and, love of God. We want to become devotees. This is right, that is wrong. These things we know. But the problem is, for example, in the morning when you want to get up, okay, at least for those of you who try to get up early in the morning. When you're trying to get up early in the morning, your intelligence says this is the best thing to do. But the mind says, I want to sleep more. And therefore, there's a tug of war. This tug of war becomes painful for us. Therefore, Bhagavatam 3rd canto says there are two people who are completely happy in this world: pure devotees and the most ignorant. These two people are always happy. But the people in between, they are the ones always in stress. Why? Because they have tug of war going on. But that day, when your intelligence says, I want to get up early, and your mind agrees to it, sometimes mind agrees, isn't it? Say you are going on a trip. So sometimes mind agrees to get up. Then you are blissful because the mind is going with the intelligence. There's no fight. But when we face this fight, immediately you are pained because you are thinking, okay, should I go with the mind? Mind is also correct. I got less sleep last night. But intelligence says, hey, to exam, you have not studied 5 chapters. Intelligence is also correct. Now, so there's a tug of war, and that makes it very difficult for us. So, if we want to overcome the mind, the uncontrolled mind, if we want to be happy in this world, we have to learn to control it. Mm. So, I was just explaining to you what makes the mind uncontrolled are these samskaras. And the samskaras, the root of samskaras, how does it start? Starts with vritti. How does vritti start? Scripts. Hmm? So if you want to see a chain, the chain would be senses. Accordingly, the script vrittis become vasanas, vasanas become samskaras. Samskaras are like lines on a stone. I'm not that good artist, Prabhu. The problem is I don't have the USB. It's not moving. I need to connect it using a cable. Does it? Yes. Yes.
Oh, is this something like kind of Kutam, Vijam, or Prarabdha?
Yeah, it's somewhere like that also. There's an overlap between both the concepts. Correct. Yeah. So, is there a possibility to give up bad habit? What do you say?
Yes.
Okay, why? How means sorry, why? How?
Good input.
Yeah, give good input. Change the script. Hmm? Just like if you have an ink bottle of blue ink, and you want to clean the blue ink bottle, what do? Keep pouring water. Hmm? When you put it under a tap, what comes out initially is complete blue ink. But then you can say, oh, so much blue ink. Let me just stop it. I cannot see it. No, let it happen. Let the blue ink come out. So there'll be initially intense blue ink, almost like black ink, but it's all blue. So intense that it looks like black. The blue ink keeps coming out, then the intensity reduces. Still now it's water coming out, but it is blue water, dark blue water, then a light blue water, then lighter blue water, then lighter blue water. And one point in time you get transparent water. That's when the ink bottle is clean. Now imagine as you're cleaning, you're also pouring ink from side. Can you clean it? Can you clean the ink bottle? You can. It just takes you forever, isn't it? So therefore, if we want to clean and control the mind, become from bad elephant to good elephant, the mind. Just as you saw, the bad elephant can create a havoc in our life, can destroy our lives. Whereas a good elephant, you can even draw. Similarly, mind, when you control the mind, it has a lot of potential. And the main purpose of control mind is to attain perfection and self-realization, to get there. So to go from a bad elephant mind to good elephant mind, we have to do two things. We have to chant Om and don't put further dirt in the mind. These two things have to go on side by side. If someone says, okay, I'll no more put any dirt in my mind, but what are you going to do over the dirt that's already present? Nothing. Then it won't work. Or if someone says, okay, I'll only take the medicine, but I will not follow any rules and regulations, prescription, that don't eat fried food, don't do this, don't do that, I'll not follow that. No, still the disease continues. So if you want to cleanse the mind, you have to do two things: take the medicine and follow the prescription. Prescribed food, only health khichdi, no fried food, no outside food, no McDonald's, no pizzas, only pizzas at Sunday market. No other pizza. So these two things when you do immediately, of course, it'll take some time. Just as ink bottle takes time to become clean, our mind also will take time to become clean. And as the mind becomes clean, the symptom is pure mind gets attracted to pure things. Impure mind gets attracted to impure things. Generally, as monks, we don't watch movies. So sometimes in flight, I have the hardest struggle in flight because the TV is right in front of me. So one day, once when I was traveling, what I did is I did not turn on the TV, though my hands were itching, because I thought my Falcon would happen through movies. I was that much addicted to movies. But then this time I did not turn on the TV. But then the person sitting in front of me, he was playing a movie. So though I was chanting, reading, time to time my eyes would go there. And then when I would catch my mind red-handed, I would again bring it back to book, whatever I was reading. And but my mind would again go there. Again I had to bring it back. But I feel I failed because by the end of my flight journey, I could make out the sum and substance of the movie. Because in the flight, when they put movies, they also put subtitle, isn't it? So I didn't have to hear anything. You see, because impure mind, how much you have to bring it back, again it goes. So if we have a mind that has a tendency to keep going elsewhere, that means it is impure. It cannot be stable. It cannot sit at one place. If you want to make it sit, you have to tame it, and you can tame the mind by cleaning it. Pure mind gets attracted to holy name. The gopis are playing in Gopi Gitam. They are cursing, not in Gopi Gitam. Not Gopi Gita, I think to Uddhava they are crying. They are saying, just look at us, how unfortunate we are. Because our minds is thinking of that fellow Krishna. I don't want to think of Krishna, but still the mind is going there. Anyone has that problem? You don't want to think of Krishna, but still the mind is going. You want to go and do some sanskarification, but you end up in temple hall with bead bag. Ever happened like that? No, our problem is different. You want to go towards bead bag, but you get distracted by other things, isn't it? So therefore, impure mind gets attracted to impure things, and therefore there's austerity. Till the time our mind is impure, you have to put conscious effort to make sure the mind is not going in the wrong direction. If you just become little lax, immediately mind goes and gets polluted again. Sometimes mind justifies, sometimes once in a while it's fine. So be careful of the rascal mind. In Srimad Bhagavatam, mind is also compared to a wild animal, a very ferocious wild animal, the fifth canto. So a hunter, when he captures this very ferocious wild animal and cages it, will he be ever so careless to keep the door of that cage open? Maybe he thinks today he's sleeping, he will not get up today. It's fine. Let me keep it open. No, he is very vigilant. Similarly, we have to be very vigilant with our uncontrolled mind, which is like a ferocious animal. Why is it called ferocious? Because that animal will eat up the hunter. Similarly, our mind, which is so ferocious, it will eat us up. So be very careful. A yogi, that's what is given in Bhagavatam. A yogi is one who is very, very careful in dealing with the mind. And I have discussed last time. He hits the mind with a broomstick in the morning 100 times. And 9 times when you're sleeping, again 100 times with the shoe. Keep hitting the mind. And why? Because you're tame it. Now, as of now, it is like an uncontrolled elephant. So, we want to purify our mind from bad habits, from bad samskaras. It is not impossible. For people who are practicing bhakti yoga, it is possible. That's the good news for us. In sixth canto, there's a story of the famous Ajamil. Have you heard of Ajamil?
Yes.
How many of you not heard of Ajamil? Okay, some people have not heard of Ajamil. Okay, Ajamil, he was short, long story cut short. He was a Brahmana boy, and always chanted the holy names. And Vedic times, Satya Brahmana means very pious fellow. But one day his father said, "Hey, beta, go and get some wood for yagya from the forest." As he went to the forest to collect wood, he found there was one degraded man and enjoying with a prostitute in the forest. They're kissing and embracing and everything. But when he saw this sight, he closed his eyes. But the mind said, "Look again." So again he saw it. Again he closed his eyes. He is just doing all this from behind a tree. And again the mind said, "Look at it." Again he saw. Again he closed his eyes. Then he thought, "No, no, no. This is too much contamination. I should not do this." And that is the time he also started recalling mantras and stotras, whatever he memorized. Sarvadharman Parityaja. What is that verse? Whatever he did, the mind was going back and back to that scene. So finally, mind overtook his intelligence. So he fell victim to that scene. He shooed away that degraded man, and he told the prostitute, "You become my wife and come to my home." And as he took her to his home, he kicked. Parents, of course, denied. He kicked out his parents. He was legally wedded with a very chaste wife. He kicked out his wife from the home only to house that prostitute. And of course, because prostitute is has the control over him, she said, "If you want to enjoy with me further, then you have to get me a TV." Of course, in Satyaga there's no TV, but of course some demands. Maybe a gold chain, maybe some rupees, some costly drink. She gave demands, and this fellow, because he's a Brahmana, he doesn't have so much, but he fell victim to robbery, to murders, to all kinds of other bad habits, trying to get money in order to satisfy the prostitute. And he had 10 children with her. The last child he had was at the age of 88. So you can understand how lusty he was. He fell complete victim to this prostitute. And that is the time when he was at the age of 88, he was lying down on his deathbed, and he was almost on his last days. And what happened? Yamadutas. Yamadutas came. As the Yamadutas came, they saw this is the rascal who has to be taken to Yamaraj. The pious souls are not taken to Yamaraj, only the impious souls, the sinful. The Yamadutas came, they put the Yamapash. Through Yamapash, they pull out the subtle body along with the soul and take him to the Yamaloka. So as they put the Yamapash and they were pulling Ajamil's subtle body and Ajamil out of his gross body, he immediately screamed out, Narayana! Like that, he screamed out. Who was Narayana? His son, not Lord Narayana. As he screamed out Narayana, Lord Vishnu in Vaikuntha told Vishnu that, hey, someone is calling my name. Vishnu Dutta said, my dear Lord, please don't be disturbed. He's calling his son. Vishnu said, no, it's my name. Please, you should go and save him. So, Lord's order. So, Vishnu Dutta immediately descended and cut the Yamapash. And if you read 6th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, there is this dialogue that ensues between Vishnu Duttas and Yamadutas, because previously Yamadutas were never stopped in their tracks. No one had the guts to stop Yamadutas. And now Vishnu Dutas have come and they look very effulgent and very saintly. So Yamadutas were also a little careful in speaking with them. And then the dialogue describes how the whole point of discussion was how Ajamil is a dharmic person. Vishnu Dutas is saying Ajamil is a dharmic person. Yamadutas are completely confused. I mean, just up till now, the record was different. So then the Vishnu Dutas explained the power of chanting one holy name. He only chanted Narayana, that too not addressing Narayana. Not that he was addressing Narayana. One Narayana he chanted, not addressing Narayana. The power of that name is so much that it burnt to ashes all the sinful reactions. So he is what? Left with only Sukriti, spiritual credits. So is dharmic or not? This is argument of Vishnu Dutas. And finally the Yamadutas, they got confused. They went back to their leader, Yamaraj. Because they were thinking, till date, Yamaraj would say, go there and catch him and come. They would go catch him and come. Okay, Yamaraj would say, okay, go to that loka, catch this fellow and bring him. So they thought Yamaraj is the supreme person. Now when they went to Yamaraj and described the features of these Vishnu Dutas and how they were able to stop us, cut the Yamapash and stop us from bringing Ajamil, Yamaraj, hearing the description of Vishnu Dutas, immediately he understood. These are the messengers of the Supreme Lord Vishnu. They are not ordinary. And then Yamaraj told them, don't worry. Next time, wherever you go, if your Vishnu Dutas are there, immediately turn back. You don't have any dialogue with them. Because they are the messengers of my Lord, Lord Vishnu. So now, when this story was discussed spoken by Shukadev Goswami, the speaker of Bhagavatam, to King Parikshit, the grandson of Arjuna, lot of names, just bear with me. This story was discussed just to prove one point, the power of bhakti. Why? Because just prior to this, in the 5th canto of Bhagavatam, Shukadev Goswami mentions hellish planets. He only gives description of 26 hells, but don't worry, there are more. But he just wanted to give a description. And if you want, you can read to get a glimpse of what hellish planets are. In Raurava, Kumbhipaka. In Kumbhipaka, the living entity is put into hot oil and fried like a pakoda. Yeah, it's true. And they get bodies which will not die. So you can just suffer the pain. Some places, if someone is killing insects or someone is stealing, for example, someone has killed birds or something, there's a hell known for such meant for such a person, where birds come and pluck out his eye. From the top, they come, pluck out his eye and go repeatedly. And I think again he gets an eye, again they pluck out. Something like that. Very horrible. If you read the 5th canto, it's explained. And don't think this is a fiction. It's scientific. You can do sinful action and see. So when Shukadev Goswami spoke about these hellish planetary systems, Parikshit, because he was such a kind-hearted gentleman, he felt so sorry for the living entities. He said there must be some way by which the living entities can escape this hellish suffering. And then Shukadev Goswami, just to test him, he said, yeah, there's something called prashchitta. You know what prashchitta is? Ever heard of prashchitta? What is prashchitta? Contemplate. Repentance, yeah. Repentance. Actually, in the Vedas, if you do something wrong, it is said if you have stolen, okay, do this yagya, it will counter your sinful actions. Like that, things are there. This is called prayashchitta. It's basically karma kanda mentioned in the Vedic scriptures. So when someone does prayashchitta, uh, when Shukadeva Goswami said yes, there is availability of prayashchitta for such people, but Parikshit said no, this is useless. You know why? You can do prayashchitta. You have stolen something, you do prayashchitta. You lied, do prayashchitta. It's just like the Christians. Every Sunday or Saturday, they confess so that they can start their new account. They say Jesus has taken my sins. They said, I keep sinning and Jesus takes every Saturday. So this was the complaint of Parikshit. Parikshit said this is useless. Why? Because even if they counter their gross sinful reactions, the tendency to commit sin is still there in the heart. Therefore, it's useless. What is the use of prayashchitta? Because if a thief has a tendency to steal, and you tell him, okay, for you bail, get out of the jail, go scot free. You think he'll not steal again? No, he has a tendency to steal. Vasanas are there. So again he'll go and steal, again get into jail. Again you can release him. He'll say sorry, sorry, so next time I will not do. You release him again, what will you do? Again he will steal. So Parikshit told Shukadev Goswami, this is used. It is like manye kunjara shauchavat. He says kunjara shauchavat means elephants bathing, because the elephant gets into the water completely clean and comes out and again rolls in the dust. So this is foolish. It makes no sense. Prashita makes no sense because the tendency is not removed. Then Shukadev Goswami says, what about the path of jnana? What is jnana? Some people say, okay, think about it. Why is this bad? You'll say, okay, why we should not be greedy? Okay, ill effects of becoming greedy, ill effects of bad habits, ill effects of this, ill effects of that. You contemplate, you analyze, analysis. This is called jnana. He says jnana will also not work completely. Why? Because by doing jnana analysis, you don't perform bad action, but the tendencies just settle down. Just like if you take a cup of water and there is muddy water, all the mud settles down. So sometimes after some time, it looks like as it's clear water. Is it clean? You take a spoon and mix it again, all the dirt comes up. That means only you need an opportunity for the dirt to come up. So therefore, even in jnana path, the dirt is not removed from the heart. And then finally, Shukadev Goswami says, yes, jnana also doesn't work. There's only one path that removes the dirt in the heart from its root, and that is path of bhakti. Um, what is the verse? Remember? Remember what is the verse? Kevalaya. Kechit. Yeah. Kechit kevalaya bhaktya vasudeva parayanaha agam dunvantika snena niharam eva bhaskaraha. Shukadeva Goswami tells Parikshit Maharaj that when you practice the path of bhakti yoga, then that path of bhakti yoga is like sun rising. As the sun rises in the heart, sun of Krishna of course, sun rises in the heart, you will see whenever the sun rises, fog goes away. Sometimes in fog there is no clarity. There are big ships that collide. There's sometimes even flights can collide, cars can collide, because in fog you cannot see things clearly. But as soon as sun comes up, everything is very clear. Similarly, the fog of dust in our heart is cleared when the sun comes up, it rises, and that sun is Krishna. And that's what Prabhupada says in the purport, that when we keep hearing about Krishna, when we keep hearing about Krishna, how do I go back? Yeah. He said, when we keep hearing about Krishna constantly, then we establish Krishna in our heart. As soon as Krishna is established in the heart, Krishna cleans the heart. Shinvatam swakatah Krishna punya shravana kirtanaha hridyantasto hi abhadrani vidunoti suhritsatam. That means you hear Krishna katha. It is not ordinary katha. It is not some tales. We have some tales, fairy tales, this tale, that tale. Krishna Katha is not ordinary. As soon as you hear about Krishna, because Krishna is absolute, Krishna and his name are non-different. What is your name, Prabhu? Jayant. Jayant means what? No, one who's victorious, right? Jayant. But are you victorious all the time? No. So in this world, our me and my name don't match. Some people, some person can be, called as Kamal Lochan, one who is lotus eyed, but he might be blind. Prabhupada gives this example. Kamal Lochan. So in this world, name and the person differs. But for Krishna, as soon as you say Krishna, Krishna means one who attracts, and Krishna is attractive. So Krishna and his name are non different. Krishna and his pastimes are non different. So the more you hear about Krishna, Krishna is established in the nose, right? All of you awake, right? Krishna is established in the heart. Yeah? When Krishna is established in the heart, Yaha Krishna Taha Nahi Mayar Adhikar. Where there is Krishna, there is no Maya. Where there is light, there is no darkness. Where there is no light, there is darkness. So where there is no Krishna, there is Maya. But if Krishna is in the heart, is there Maya? There is no Maya. There's no dirt. So whatever samskara may be very deep rooted, over time it will be cleansed. But that is only possible through bhakti. Yeah. So when Krishna tells in the previous verse, oh sorry, what? How is it going to 34 to? Oh, scroll down. 35. It went to 36 to 34. I'll show you 35th, then we'll conclude. Yeah. See here, Krishna is saying abhyasa and vairagya. What is abhyasa? Practice. Practice of what? Practice of detachment. Detachment practice. No? What is practice? Practice of bhakti. And of course, controlling the mind in pursuit of bhakti. But practice of bhakti. In Prabhupada said, hearing. What do you have to practice? Hearing about Krishna. What we are doing now? Hearing about whom? Me. No, about Krishna. We are hearing about Krishna. Hearing instruction of Krishna or hearing about Krishna, Krishna's pastime. This is all hearing about Krishna. This is what we have to practice. For now, we don't have taste. Isn't it? After 20 minutes, we look at the watch. Prasad hoga. Isn't it? The taste is not there. But as we keep hearing, as Krishna becomes established in the heart, we develop taste. That's what we have to practice. Devotional service, bhakti. Mind becomes controlled automatically when Krishna is there. And what do we have to detach from? Vairagya? Material attachments, wrong inputs. What is wrong input, Prabhu? Detachment from matter, detachment from matter.
Anything separate from Krishna.
Anything separate from Krishna. What about your job, Prabhu?
Work in a way.
Oh,
Working for Krishna.
now work in a way to connect with Krishna. Yes.
Free from the consequences of your actions also. Detachment.
Detachment free from the consequences of your actions. That means you act whatever, where they should be detached.
Like you act in Krishna consciousness only,
Okay.
but you don't have a fruitive mentality.
Okay.
Like your desires are also.
Okay. So detached from fruits.
Yes.
Okay. Detached from fruits. Okay. And what else to detach from? I mean, how will detach from fruits help in controlling the mind? It will, of course. It will help in pacifying the mind. We have to detach from anything that takes us away from Krishna. Simple. Practice, you're practicing devotional service to Krishna. So what do you have to detach from? Whatever is an obstacle to that practice. Hey, ki nahi? Say our Sachin Dekwal is a boxer. Correct, na Prabhu? At least that's what he claims. So now say he has to do some practice. Daily he has to do workout. Now what are the things you have to avoid? Something you have to avoid, right? Like you have to avoid carbohydrate. He has to avoid certain things. He cannot eat anything and everything. Why? Because it becomes an obstacle in his practice. So he's practicing. It is just like you're cleaning the ink pot, but you're putting ink. So you have to detach from ink. Similarly, in our practice of devotional service, again don't add an obstacle. So the bad scripts or anything that makes you less Krishna conscious, or any place where there are no devotees, these things one has to detach from. It's not going to help me spiritually. Learn detachment. That's in your free will, up to you. So these two things, abhyasena tu kaunteya, vairagyena jagriyati. You do this immediately as Krishna becomes established in the heart, mind becomes controlled. Mind becomes controlled. What you will do? You will be like that Guru Vayur elephant, isn't it? Very tamed, only benefiting others. Mm. So we will pause there. Um, so we completed this section of how control of mind is important, most important for practice of yoga. 36 also we did. So next time we'll do from 37. Okay. Now Arjuna says further. Now Arjuna says, okay, but you tell me detachment in the practice. Now if I take to devotional service, my material life is gone. So then what happens? He says, I'll be like a riven cloud. Riven cloud means, it is just somewhere in middle. Nor did I get perfection in my material life, nor did I get perfection in my spiritual life. Na ghar ka na ghat ka. So he says, then what should I do? What if that happens? So Krishna says, don't worry. When you practice spiritual life, there is only benefit. There is no loss. Hmm? So that we will see next time. See, aprapya yoga samsiddhim. I take to spiritual life, but if I don't attain perfection, what will happen? I can get material life also, I can get spiritual life also. So we'll address that next time. So thank you very much for your kind attention, a lot of patience. I know some of you were praying to Paramatma that let him let him stop soon. But very important section. So we'll chant. Only thing the AC is